Alright, this is Lonely Shed Part 2. Yes, I decided to call it Lonely Shed. Gotta have a name for it, right? So, I'm gonna get some paint out here and get my water ready. Notice the odd shape of the cup. I'm less likely to pick it up and drink out of it because it's nothing like the shape of my cup that I usually use to drink my coffee. So, okay. So we established where this building was going to be, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with some kind of light washes. And I'm just going to kind of map this out for you as to where things will be. As soon as I get the right brush here. Okay. I think I'm going to use just a little bit bigger brush. This one has like a little bit of a point to it, so I think that'll be alright for now. And going to use some rustic colors again. And you know, we're probably looking at summer, midsummer, late summer, something like that. I don't know. And now this appears to be like a pink up here, but it's actually at some point my mom used acrylics on here and just left that there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look from my building here, and I want to have some kind of vertical presence come down here. So I'm going to come across like this, and notice I'm not going to fill this in solid. I'm going to kind of come down here. Not sure where this is going yet. I want to leave some white here because I don't want to now you see I was the paint was a little strong, so I wanted to kind of just dip my brush in the water and soften it a little bit. So I'm establishing this kind of vertical feel down here, but yet it's going to be offset kind of to the right. And I'm going to go a little smaller this time, I think. And so I also want to get the same feel kind of going this way too. So I'm going to, like I said, this is just like a base color, okay? I'm going to bring, let's see, offset like that. So I want to bring this, we're going to have kind of land up behind the house a little bit. And I'm just going to make this, see how it's not solid, okay? I'm leaving some gaps here because I want to throw some other colors and stuff in there. I don't want to just have it like all brownish looking, okay? So on this side it's going to be a little above, and down here I want to bring it down a little bit below. Okay? So this is very crude right now, okay? It's just a start. And what I'm going to do now also is I'm going to kind of establish some sky, and it's going to be kind of around this area here, but I'm going to make it so it's kind of has more color in this area. So we have a vertical here and a vertical here that are kind of offset, and then I'm going to have a horizontal here and a horizontal here that are kind of offset, and these are going to kind of vignette outward. You'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I need to get some sky color going. And let's see. I really need a test paper here. Remember, if you need to test something, it doesn't have to be a huge piece of paper. It doesn't even have to be painting paper. And that's too gray. I want a little bit of color in it. Okay, let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet above my shed here, my whatever you want to call it, my lonely shack. And I'm going to wet this down real nice here. Kind of take it over there, and let's see what happens. So I did some coffee test here earlier, and it just didn't really work out that well. So I'm going to take this blue that I've just got together here and kind of do some sky stuff up here. Now, just remember, don't overdo it. Okay. Notice the marks are different lengths, they're different sizes. I don't want consistency. To me, just really takes away from any kind of piece. Like if you include some randomness, it just makes things so much more interesting sometimes. And who knows, I might come back in here a little bit later and kind of adjust this. Like when it's dry, I might add some different types of markings to it. And I think I'm going to make this a little more solid down by the shed. Okay. Now you want to be careful not to paint around your building, because it's going to give you that appearance that you're painting around the building, and then it's going to flatten the image. Okay, so don't be like trying to go around it, because what you're going to do is you're going to leave marks that show that you're outlining the building. Okay. All right, so we kind of have this part established, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start adding a little bit of color to the foreground, and I'm going to go with a smaller brush for this. When it comes to paintings like this, I like to keep like fine details and stuff going. I'm going to wet this foreground down a little bit, because I want my first colors that I put down here to kind of flow a little bit. And I'm going to warn you now, I haven't done this for a long time this way, with this kind of configuration, so it may or may not turn out good. I don't know. So I'm starting to just give us some variety. That's all I'm doing. And just remember, if you try to do too much too fast, as far as leaving things on the paper, it may not work out for you. So right now I'm just going with some kind of orangey brown up here, and kind of giving this that rustic open field kind of look. Now you can see, even though there's a vertical feel here and a vertical feel here, I'm still using horizontal lines, because we want to make sure that the viewer sees that there are different planes here that are flat. It's not a totally vertical orientation. I think I'm going to get some more of a lighter orange here, and I'm going to pull that over into here. Now remember, less is more here. You can always go back and add some later. But with watercolor especially, and some of you might be using some acrylic, it just depends what you have. But You can always go back and add a few things here and there. It's much harder to take things out, especially with acrylic. Especially with watercolor. Okay. So, having this part roughed in, eventually you'll see that I'm going to spread out from these just a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some details out down into here toward our foreground. So the main interest is going to be working its way up toward the house. Okay, we're going to have visual movement here, we're going to have movement here, we're going to have movement here to this focal area. And we'll also have some kind of tree-like things behind it too. Okay, so this will give you something to chew on for the day. All right, and there's your part 2.